welcome. Thank you for joining the program. Thank you for connecting wherever you are connecting from. I appreciate you. I thank you for joining the program. Like and share if you have not done so. You're welcome. Thank you for joining the program. Thank you for connecting. Thank you for joining. Welcome you wherever you are connecting from. Thank you for joining.
Bluetooth mode.
Not to come to pass, that heaven and earth will cease to exist. You opened your mouth to bless mankind to the coming of Yahweh Yeshua, who came here and said, let your kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. Those words can never be in vain because they are anchored upon your holiness and your magnificence. That is why in the end we know that Biafra will come, that these children that we have given birth to all over the world, and their children, and their children, and their children, as long as they give birth to them and they are Biafrans, they will worship you in truth and honesty. Through this very work we are doing, mankind will come to understand you. Let your miracle be wrought in our lives. Let us witness and behold your magnificence, your holiness, your mystery, and your grace under our command. O Lord of hosts, we call upon you. We call upon you to heal. We call upon you to provide succor to those of them who are inconsolable. We ask you to come and strengthen those who are weak. We ask you to restore hope where there is hopelessness. We ask you for inclusion where there is destitution. We ask you for one brotherhood, one camaraderie, one bone, one blood, and one flesh of your children. The Efiks and the Bibios, the Izon, the Shekiri, the Isobos, and also those of them from Isobo. We are traveling all the way to the lands of Igala. We are moving on from there to Idoma, to Igede, to the territories of the Igbo land. All these places we dedicate unto thee. All these lands of yours, we ask you to cover it with your mercy. Because Biafra will come, and when it does, we will dance on the streets. I'm telling you, By the time that we are done, humanity will think that we are mad, we are drunk in your glory, and rightfully so, because your kingdom will come to rest upon this very earth. That very kingdom is the unadulterated, non-negotiable sovereignty of the Republic of Biafra, that your will may be fulfilled in our time. All this we pray, all this we ask for, in no other name apart from that name that belongs to you. I had in Sosine Bige. He said,
Welcome, 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 welcome. Thank you for joining me on this very program today. I appreciate everybody who has connected. My beloved brother Amechi Jonas, thank you for joining. You're welcome, Amechi. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for always being there for me. I appreciate you. And every other person who feels that he or she has to join, please kindly join. As you join the program, you like and share. You like and share. You see, when they start, their hindrances are blocking us. There's nothing we can do than to continue to break the bounds. They are not making it easy for us to broadcast. They try as much as they can. They stop us from sending the message across to Biafran people. But we will not allow them to stop us. We will not allow them to stop us. We will continue to push this message across to the whole world until the least person hears us. We will continue to send this message across. So wherever you are watching this program from, I appreciate you and I welcome you this moment, any place you are watching from. In this very platform, as you all know, here we do not come here to instigate violence. We don't come here to preach hate, neither do we come here to speak lies. We come here to set the record straight and let the world know what is actually going on. We will continue to speak the truth and nothing but the truth. No matter what the enemy says, no matter the weapons of their warfare, no matter their lies, their propaganda, we will continue to stand straight and speak to the whole world. Today, we are going to speak about the unshakable stance of the Biafran people through the Biafra Republic Government in Exile and our Prime Minister, Mazi Samoneba. We have made our stance known, and our stance cannot be removed, cannot be shaken. No matter the attacks you see, no matter the blackmails, no matter the propaganda, no matter wherever they are coming from, we will never stop. We will continue to make our voice heard. We will continue to set the record straight, and we will continue to tell the world what is happening in Biafran land. The dehumanization of the Biafran people, the attack on Biafran people, and subjugation of Biafran people will continue to come to the whole world through us. We will continue to expose every evil agenda of the caliphate against the children of Chukwu. We will continue to expose every evil agenda they have against us. No matter how they try, no matter their weapon of warfare, no matter what they throw at us, we will continue to fight against them and destroy them completely. Today, Biafran people have consistently taken their stance and demand for their freedom of their people. We do not want anything from the Zoological Republic. We are not asking for anything from the Zoological Republic. All we are asking for is our freedom. The freedom of Biafran people is all we ask for, nothing else. We are asking for our freedom, and we will continue to ask for our freedom. As long as they continue to deny us our rights, as long as they continue to fight us, we will continue to demand for our freedom, and our freedom we must get. They can buy up all the media in the world. They can push all their propaganda and blackmail. They can buy everyone buyable. They can never stop the coming of Biafra. Biafra is a divine mission in the hand of Chukwu Kabiam. It's an agenda that must be fulfilled, whether they like it or not. It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter what they think. It doesn't matter how they plan it. It doesn't matter where they push their life or where they throw their life. We definitely have our freedom in this time. As the freedom is blowing around West Africa, as we see the breeze of freedom blowing in West Africa, Biafrans are standing alert, positioning ourselves for our own freedom. We are already positioned for freedom, and nothing on the planet Earth that will make us not to get involved in the freedom that is coming. That freedom you are seeing today, the freedom you are hearing, the wave of freedom you are hearing today, the freedom you are seeing across Africa is being activated by the Biafran people. Is being activated by Biafra. Our Supreme Leader Mazen Nandekano have made a cry for the Africans to rise up for a very long time. He has made a call for Africans to resurrect from wherever they are, rise up from their slumber, and take that which belongs to them. And finally today, the Africans are rising up. They are rising up. And how can you think that Africans will be rising up and Biafrans will be left behind? Never ever. We will never be left behind. That is why the restoration of Biafra today is on top gear. The Biafra Republic government in exile, under the command of our Prime Minister Mazi Simon Ekpa today, is doing exploits, going extra miles, doing things that seems impossible to make sure Biafra becomes a reality. And I bet you, it is going to be more. You're going to see more. As time goes by, you will see more things happening. More things are going to be revealed. As the day go by, you will continue to see more things being revealed. You continue to see more revelations. Nothing can stop the freedom of the people. The Biafran people have made up their mind to pursue their freedom, and we will continue to do so until our freedom is guaranteed. We will never stop. It doesn't matter the weapon of their warfare. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter their propaganda. It doesn't matter. Just as they did in 1967, let the whole world join them and turn against Biafra. We will never back down. Not now, not tomorrow, not ever. We will never back down. The time has come for the children of Chukwu Okike Abiama to have their freedom and have their own home. The voice is getting loud and louder and louder than ever. And I tell you in my previous broadcast, I said it, that Chukwu Okike Abiama is going to give our enemy a very strong assignment that will keep him busy. While he is busy solving that very assignment, the Biafran people will be recovering their land inch by inch, block by block, local government by local government, state by state. And every inch of Biafran land will be recovered, unknowingly to them, before they will realize it, we are gone. It is going to happen. And I thank Chukwu Okike Abiama for the Prime Minister of Biafra Republic Government, Mazi Simon Ekpa, who is timely following up. He is timely following up events. Mazi Simon Ekpa is on top of the gear. I can tell you that he's leading while others are following. Very, very timely. Today, the recovery of Biafra have started in full force. And the Biafran Liberation Army are doing their due diligence on the ground. If you are in Biafra land today, you must be security conscious and be very careful. If you have not seen them yet on your own area, it doesn't mean that they're not existing. Serious operations are going on the ground to restore Biafra. The process will continue until we fully recover every inch of our land. No propaganda can stop that. Nobody can stop it. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you think you are. It doesn't matter what you plan. It doesn't matter who is sponsoring you or what your rank is. It doesn't matter how much you have. You can never stop the wind of freedom that is blowing. This revolution is the revolution that our Supreme Leader Nanikan have talked about for a very long time. Our Supreme Leader have made a call for this revolution for a very, very long time. And finally, here are we. In this revolution, Biafrans are going to be in the forefront. For those of you who listened to the broadcast of our Prime Minister yesterday, he has made it clear that we are standing in solidarity with any country that have made themselves available to rescue themselves and save themselves from the colonial clutches and stand on their own. Any country, as long as you're willing to stand on your own to free yourself from colonialism and be by yourself, the Biafran people will stand in solidarity with you. And today, the newest country that we have seen that have risen up to take charge of their own destiny is Gabon. Gabon have risen up to take charge of their destiny. And we, the Biafran people, are standing in solidarity with Gabon. We support them 100%. And whenever they need us, they should call on us. We will answer. The illegitimate president of the Zoological Republic trying to threaten Gabon. That is to show you that these people they don't mean well for themselves. When you see that anytime the Biafran people rise up, anytime any African country rise up to liberate themselves, instead of celebrating them, the illegitimate government in Nigeria stands out on behalf of the West and speak on behalf of the West. That is what we are seeing today. What we are seeing today is that the Zoological Republic of Nigeria is playing a role for the West, speaking for the West, standing up for the West, and never stand up for the people. Just like they are doing in their own country, in that so-called Nigeria. The indigenous tribe today have become an endangered species in a country which is supposed to be theirs. The indigenous tribe that are supposed to be defended today are so scared. They do not know their fate. They are not sure if they're going to see the next day. So many indigenous tribes have been wiped away in the contraption called Nigeria. The indigenous tribe in Nigeria are living in a great danger, more especially in the north. Most of their land have been taken over by the British-sponsored Fulanese, and nobody seems to pay attention. The government of Nigeria don't pay attention. Their colonial master, the British, don't care about that. All they care about is focusing on those who are genuinely seeking for the freedom and protection of their own boundaries. The Zoological Republic from the onset was never created to benefit any indigenous person. When we say it, you wouldn't understand until you remove your ignorance, remove your envy and jealousy. Then and only then you begin to understand that Nigeria is not meant for you. Nigeria is not meant for you. It doesn't matter your tribe. It doesn't matter your religion. It doesn't matter what you are. Nigeria is not meant for you. Nigeria remains a company. And it was meant to serve a purpose of one particular country, the British, the colonial master. And they do not care who becomes your president. They don't care who becomes your leader. What they care about is any puppets who will abide by their own rules. Any puppets who will abide by their own rules and stand for them. And continue to make sure that they continue to manipulate every other African country, including their own nation, and subjugate people and put them into poverty. The agenda that they had, right from amalgamation, the agenda of the British they had was to create an African nation where there will be so much population that they can be able to use that very people to manipulate every other Africans. That was the plan, the initial plan of the amalgamation. And today they are still pursuing that agenda. Amalgamation was not for the benefit of the citizens. It was not for the benefit of those who were merging together. It was all for the benefit of the company called Nigeria. And today you can see the role that company is playing in Africa. At a time when revolution is taking over. At a time when people are liberating themselves from the clutches of the colonial master. You can now see the Zoological Republic playing a role and speaking the voice of the colonial master. We are talking of Niger. Niger liberated themselves. And when you look at what Niger have been faced, and the most painful is not as if that these countries had a good governance and then the military came and overthrew. It's not as if that things were working well and the military came and overthrew. And yet, this criminal British puppet, this drug baron, will not see beyond his nose. He continues to support the colonial master because he himself is corrupt. Look at Niger. Niger has resources like uranium, one of the most expensive and most required needed resources, and yet Niger is the poorest, almost the poorest country in the world. Niger is, I can tell you, the poorest country in the world. You won't understand it except you go to Niger. If you have not been to Niger, you will not understand what we are telling you. For some of us who have been to Niger, you see the citizens of Niger, you see what they are going through, you see the kind of poverty in that Niger. You will now begin to understand why it is necessary that there be change in that place called Niger. And when you talk about changing the government democratically in Africa, it is not possible. You cannot have any good democratic government in Africa. Each time you talk about democracy, you are only trying to play into the hand of the colonial master to repeat the exact thing they have been doing and their own plan. The original democracy that we know, that we are supposed to embrace and practice, originated from Africa itself, from Biafra land, to be precise, Igbo land in particular. That was where the democracy they are preaching to you originated from. And in that original democracy, it is about the people, the government of the people, for the people, and by the people. And when I begin to see what is happening in Africa today, I can't imagine how somebody will see the people of a country revolting against an evil government, taking charge of their own destiny, 100% turning around and say, we do not want the sitting government. Look at what we want. And someone somewhere is telling me that you want to truncate the will of the people and impose, I don't know what they call it, democracy. What democracy do you want to impose? You want to remove the will of the people and put the will of the colonial master and support an individual against the masses, and you call that democracy. Everybody on the planet Earth, more especially Africans, must pay attention. You must pay attention. One thing that will make you know that these people are a bunch of deceivers and they are not do well. They don't have any good plan for you as long as you are African. The colonial masters do not want you to survive. They don't have any good plan for you. Have it at the back of your mind that there is no plan whatsoever to make you progress. There's no plan whatsoever to give you a direction where you are going to survive. The colonial master doesn't have such plan. The express plan that the colonial master has is to make sure they keep you down. You remain a slave. They keep you subjugated. They make sure you don't have a voice. That is the standard they planted and they want to run and they want to maintain it. It has been good enough for years, for decades, for generations, and yet they want to hold on it. But in this generation of the Africans, youth that we have come to end it. And the Biafrans are leading the charge. Every colonial grip in Africa, every stronghold of the colonial masters will be let loose, whether they like it or not. You see their puppet in Nigeria, the drug baron who called himself illegitimate person, somebody whose own case is still in the court. And what he wants is that other African countries that want to free themselves should go the same direction and begin to dance naked in the courts, just like he is doing today. He wanted other African countries to follow suit the way the Zoological Republic has decided to embrace evil. He wants other African countries to buy into the cowardice of the Nigerians, not to fight for their rights. How can anybody see the support the revolution in Niger is having, and yet you call it undemocratic? How can you see the revolution and the support that the masses have for the government? It doesn't matter whether in uniform or no uniform. The people say that this is what we want, and yet you are here preaching against it and talking about democracy. Evil. Of recently, he has come again shamelessly to speak on Gabon. It is only a madman. It is only somebody who is being remuted. It's only a criminal, somebody who is blind, that can come and speak against the Gabon military for taking over government. Only a wicked soul, the devil himself, will stand up and speak against the Gabonese, their military. Have you been able to see the videos of the person we are talking about? The president that was ousted by the military. A man who have overstayed his welcome. A man whose family have turned Gabon into their own personal property. A man whose family have run a country for more than 40-something years and still counting, and never ready to let go. And these people who are preaching democracy are supporting this evil. A man who has been in power for 40-something years and continue. The same people that are preaching you democracy are promoting him. They want him to continue. They are fighting for him. Because he is there playing the role of the colonial master. Because he's allowing them to steal as much wealth as they want. But can you now take back your mind to Libya? When they brought their blackmail against Muammar Gaddafi, and they said that Gaddafi have been there for too long. That Gaddafi is so strong-handed. Gaddafi is this, Gaddafi is that. That he has ruled for a very long time. He doesn't want democracy. But I can tell you, in every of these countries where you have African leaders that have been there for 30 years, 40 years, there is none of those nations that you can compare to Libya. None of them can be compared to Libya in terms of success, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of good governance. None of them can be compared. There you are today, speaking about Gabon. Where were you when Muammar Gaddafi was murdered in cold blood? Where were you? Where were you, African presidents? The so-called ECOWAS and the AU, where were you? When Muammar Gaddafi was murdered in cold blood, a man that has not committed any offense anywhere, only because he was trying to hold his country firm, they murdered him. The same people that murdered Gaddafi today, they are speaking up for a president that has stroke, a man who can barely say a word. You can look at the video that came out where he was calling for people to make noise. In that video, you see him talking, you see that his word cannot be able to connect. He cannot even be able to connect to reality. A man that has stroke, that cannot put words together, that is not mentally sound. That is the person that the West is standing up for. France, to be precise. That is the person France was dealing with. There was a video where this man went to visit Macron, and he was almost falling. It was that Macron that held him not to fall. And it is a shame that that idiot called Macron, as young as he is, cannot see beyond his nose. A young man like that is seeing evil, and he's supporting evil and promoting evil. I thank Chukwu Okeke for today, that finally the Africans have found their feet and they are walking out of colonialism. And when I hear somebody like the illegitimate president called Tinubu speak against Gabon, talk about democracy in Gabon, I wonder, people don't have shame. The drug baron, who is today the president of Nigeria, should be ashamed of himself. You talk about democracy. You want Gabon to be like you, like your country. You want Gabon, they should leave the illegitimate man, a sick man that is almost dying, that can't even stand on his own, that is not mentally sound. You want them to leave him and then go to court. Why the colonial masters will continue to manipulate their court? The court, they put it in place. The court procedure, they put in place. The court procedure that the Zoological Republic is using today was put in place by the colonial masters. They manipulate it. A place where presidential case, you will make an election, the case of the election will be in the court for 4 good years, while the tenure is 4 years. You can continue to run a government while the case will be in the court, unfinished. In their own side, it doesn't happen that way. In the West, every electoral case is settled, even before the end of the election, before the swearing in. Before the swearing in, every electoral matters are settled. But in Africa, they support illegitimate government, even when they know that this government is not legitimate. Look at somebody like Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the drug baron. Bola Ahmed Tinubu knows that he doesn't have 10% of support of Nigerians. He doesn't have it. He doesn't have 10% of the support of Nigerians. He doesn't have it. But today, he's the one talking about democracy. And I asked them, what kind of democracy are you talking about? Is it the same democracy that started from Biafra land? Is that the same one you're talking about? Definitely not. When you see them talk about democracy, ask them, what type of democracy are they talking about? Let them define it for us. Let us know. Let them define it. Before anybody will come and tell you that we want to restore democracy in Niger, we want to restore democracy in Gabon, tell them to explain what democracy means. What does it mean? What is democracy? What does it mean? We know they can always manipulate and change meaning. Maybe they have changed the meanings of democracy and we don't know. But the democracy that we know that originated from Biafra land, from Igbo land to be precise, is the government of the people, for the people, and by the people. That is the democracy that we know. If they have changed it to something else, they should come out and tell us and let us know. But at this time today, the democracy that the Biafran people are piloting and making sure it's going to come back is the original democracy that started from Biafra land. Government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And that is what you are seeing in Niger today. That is what you are seeing in Gabon today. But obviously, the enemies of the people do not want to see them have joy. How can you see where the masses are rejoicing? Where the masses are rejoicing and happy, and you want to truncate their joy? You want to change their joy. You want to revise it. You don't want them to be happy. Take away joy from anyone that doesn't want others to be happy. If you don't want others to see joy, you will never have joy in your own life. If you don't want other people to see peace, you will never know peace in your own life. If you don't want people to have happiness, you will never experience happiness in your own life. It is so sad. But I tell you, in the era that we are, that very empire of the British will fall in 2023. It is going to go down. And they know it very well. Today, it is about the French country. You can see all the French countries are rising up and taking up their country. While the British colonies are still moping. They are still moping and watching. They are still moping and watching. And instead, they allow themselves to be manipulated, to be used to stop those who want to be. If you don't want to be free, allow those who want to be free to be free. If you don't want to be free, allow those who want to be free to be free. And when we say that every organization you see in Africa is being formed by the West to keep Africa down, this is it. You know, sometimes when we make certain statements or when people make certain statements, you wouldn't understand it until when events begin to unfold, you now begin to understand better. Our Supreme Amazon have preached a gospel He had preached a message where he talked about the manipulation of the West in Africa, how they establish organizations here and there to promote their own agenda. In some cases, you see them sponsoring that organization. They build even headquarters for the organization and pay workers in that organization. And they call it humanitarian aid. It is not aid. It is not aid. In fact, if there are people who are supposed to, it is Africa that is supposed to be giving aid to the West. It is Africa that's supposed to be giving aid to the West, either in cash or through raw materials. Not the other way around. But they have created institutions in Africa to keep the Africans down. And the worst is that they are using some greedy gluttons in Africa to manipulate the African situation and make people remain enslaved. They have been able to point out, to pick out some criminals who are fraudulent, evil-minded, envious, self-centered. They pick them up, finance them, sponsor them, give them an open door to loot as much as they can. Some of these presidents are richer than the country itself. Look at this man that was overthrown in Gabon. I saw some videos that are coming, unverified videos coming out, to be the money that was stashed in his own house. Cash. A country that is bleeding and suffering. You have cash stashed in your own. What is cash doing in your own house? The same thing we saw in Sudan. During the time of Omar Bashir, after his overthrow, we saw cash in dollars. This is how wicked these people call themselves leaders are. Very wicked. You take cash and you stash up in your house. You won't even invest the cash. You won't even invest the money. That is how the height of wickedness. Because money is meant to be invested so it will increase. You are not investing this money. You took this money and you kept it somewhere, lock it up and seal it. Build a house, put an AC to be blowing on that money. This is what we see in the Zoological Republic. This is what we see in other African countries. People will take cash and lock it up. They don't invest it. They don't do anything with it. At least if they invest the money, people will have employment. Money will be circulating. People will have access to money. But they take this money and they keep it. They lock it up. This is wickedness, the height of wickedness. And the only way to stop this wickedness is to lay a new foundation. That is where the Biafran people come in. Today, we are in the journey to lay that new foundation. And whoever you are today, if you are a Biafran from the old Southeastern region, the present South and the South, the only good thing you can do for yourself is to key in. The only good thing you can do for yourself is to key in today and begin to support the Biafran program. If you don't, you have yourself to be blamed. You have yourself to blame. And if you try to stand on the way of the Biafrans, you stand on our way of our freedom, we will crush you. We will crush you in such a way that you will never reincarnate. We are going to crush you in such a way that you will never reincarnate again. The Biafran people have suffered a lot. We have learned great lessons from the Civil War of 1967, which lasted for 3 years to 1970. We learned a lot. We have waited for this time for a very long time. Chukwu Okike sent Mazen Nandekano to prepare the way for today that you are seeing. Mazen Nandekano did not hesitate. He answered that call. And for more than a decade, he has been sensitizing people and preparing the way for what is coming to be. The sensitization of Mazen Nandekano is not just to Biafrans alone, to every indigenous person in Nigeria and to Africa as a whole. The revolution Mazen Nandekano spoke about is happening. The end of Nigeria has come. The colonial master know it very well. They know that Nigeria has ended. Whatever they are doing today is to steal as much as they can. To steal as much as they can. But I tell you, every of those manipulations have come to an end. Today, as we are taking over our land, we are going to recover our land inch by inch. There's no way the children of the king will be eating in the floor. why the slave will be eaten on the table. It doesn't happen. We won't allow that. The Biafrans, we know whom we are. We have come a long way. We have worked so hard to get to the point where we are today. And we cannot allow anybody to take it away from us. We have put a lot of effort. We have made a lot of waves. We have made a lot of moves. For us to get to this point where we are today, it took a lot of hard work. We have made tremendous sacrifice, including to see if this Zola Republic will work. We made tremendous effort to see if the Zoological Republic will work. But from every indication, it's not going to work. It was all a waste of time. It was all a waste of energy. That is why finally today, we have picked up the real deal, the restoration of Biafra. And Biafra will definitely be restored, with or without you. The only good thing you can do for yourself today is to support Biafra. Play your own part. Get your own glory. And that is it. If you feel you have nothing to offer, don't stand in our way. Just give way. Get yourself busy with something else. The Biafra restoration have started. And there is nothing any man can do about that. The Biafra restoration have started. And there is nothing any man can do about that. In this wave of freedom that we are seeing, we are very much positioned, very, very well positioned. We are very well positioned. And I tell you, freedom is very, very sure and clear. I can see it. I can see Biafra being free faster than you would expect. It is very clear. Freedom is very, very close to us. No man can take it away from us. Not now, not ever. You can't take it away from us. The wind of freedom is blowing. Blowing very, very heavily. And we are connecting to it. We shall go home. We shall return home. We have tried. For a very long time, we have tried to see if things are going to work out, but it never worked out. At this point in time where we are now, it is not a time to gamble. It is not a time to look back. It is not a time to consider anything. We have tried everything that needs to be tried. Any Biafran today that is telling you that let us try this, let us give this chance, you are a moron. You don't know what you're saying. Any Biafran today, anybody from the old South Eastern that today is still saying that let us give them a chance, let us see if this will work, let us give this a work. You are a moron. You don't know what you're saying. You don't pity yourself. So as long as you don't pity yourself, don't stand in the way of others. Allow those who knows what to do to continue doing what they're doing. Because it is very, very clear. Very, very clear. Even to the blind, to the deaf and dumb, that Nigeria was made to fail. It was never made. There was never a time. There was never a time Nigeria was placed in such a way that it's going to progress or succeed. There's never a time it was made so. And probably, maybe that was why they said after 100 years that people should go their separate ways and build a nation of their own. Probably. That might be the reason why they gave that 100 years ultimatum. And you know, one thing with these white men is that anything they build, they give expiring date. That's one thing with life. Anything they make, they will put an expiring date. And if you play with that expiring date, you'll find yourself to be blamed. If you play with that expiring date, you find yourself to be blamed. When you eat an expired food, it will make you sick. If not dead. If you eat something that is expired, you can never get a good result. It will either make you sick or you kill you if care is not taken. So when you see them put expiring date on the contraption called Nigeria, they knew that it cannot survive above that. But greediness, envy, and jealousy will not allow people who call themselves leaders to use their common sense and renegotiate. Allow people to speak and survive on their own way. They refused. They continue to hold people down. The Zoological Republic have expired many, many years ago. And we have reported, we have called. Our Prime Minister have written to United Nations to remind them of the expiration of amalgamation. He have written to European Union to remind them, in case they have forgotten. You see, that is why, you see, every single thing we are doing today is legitimate. Very, very legit. That's why I tell Biafrans, you see, the greatest propaganda they are pushing against us is to make us feel as if we are committing offense. That is one of the greatest propaganda they are pushing. Each time they see, you see them, they have succeeded in making every other indigenous person, once they hear Biafra, it will seem as if they have heard about a terrorist group, that the most dangerous terrorist group in the world. That is how they see us in Nigeria. When they hear Biafra, they will be agitated, they will have restless mind. That is how the people in Nigeria have been programmed. And some of us Biafrans are being won over because of this very kind of feelings. Because of this very kind of feeling, some of us Biafrans, some of us that are from the old South Eastern region, even the Igbo Biafrans, they are so scared to identify themselves with Biafra in order to look good before their own friends, in order to be seen as, oh, you are not like your brothers. Oh, you are a good person. Oh, you are not the same thing with your brothers who are always talking about Biafra. Just to be able to see that, even when they know that they are suffering and smiling. Look at what do they call him? The owner of APs. When that man was making the speech, when I heard one of his programs where he was talking, the owner of APs, and you see him talking. When you see him talking, if you don't see his face, you would think he's a human being talking. But when you see him, after saying that Nigeria cannot survive because of the diversity, he made it clear. He pointed out the fault of Nigeria, which can never be solved. That this diversity of Nigeria, tribal diversity, religious diversity, that we do not have common interest in that, and because of that no country can survive on such kind of basis. AP said it is so mad. That no country can survive based on these tribal diversities and religious diversities that is so deep rooted in Nigeria. After saying that, he came back to talk about one Nigeria, that you should come back together, try to be one and unified. A Biafran man fighting for another. Something that you know is impossible. It will never happen. Something that you and I know that it is impossible. Onyema knows that what he's saying is impossible. For a Biafran, for a northern senator to come and make a case for a Biafran, for a northern senator to come and speak on behalf of the Biafrans to win one thing or the other, even for somebody from the southwest to come and stand for us and speak on our behalf, an impossible thing that he knows that can never ever happen, and let he continue to preach that lies. Even while he was there, complaining of how they are making his own line of duty, his own airway, how they are pushing him down, caging him, because of tribalism. The tribal sentiment in that zodiacal body is so deep rooted that there is no miracle on the planet Earth that will remove that tribal sentiment. This is something that have been from time of amalgamation up to date, from independent. This very tribal sentiment have been there, and all of a sudden you think you can remove it in 2023. Tribal sentiment have been there. When Ahmadu Bello was interviewed by the British, a British journalist, it was before the so-called independent. Ahmadu Bello was interviewed many years ago, and he displayed that tribal sentiment, hatred against the Igbos. Up to this minute, for how many years? For how many years now? A country that is 60-something years old after independence, still, they are still talking about unity. And all of a sudden, you think you can get that unity in 2023. Are you not sick? You are sick. The earlier these people wake up and begin to tell themselves the truth, the better. But unfortunately, these are greedy fools. These are a bunch of cowards who cannot tell themselves the truth. They continue to lie to themselves. Onyema, after mentioning and say that the tribal sentiment in Nigeria, no country will have such tribal sentiment and succeed. The religious sentiment, you can't have it and succeed. After saying that, he is still there, calling for one Nigeria. I don't know why it is so difficult for them to call for a peaceful breakup of the Zoological. Conduct a referendum. Let there be a peaceful breakup. Conduct a referendum. Let there be a peaceful breakup. Why is it so difficult? Why? Exactly, Kingdom Channel. Kingdom Channel. You understand what I'm saying? Kingdom Channel, you are getting what I'm saying? After making all those elaborate speech, so sweet in the eyes of the people, so nice, but he ended up destroying, ended it up with something that he knows, he himself knows that it's impossible. That he wants a time when a northern, a full animal will be advocating for a Biafra. Impossible. Even an Oduduwa man advocating for a Biafra is near impossible. You know very well that this thing is impossible, and there you are deceiving yourself. There you are deceiving yourself. And when you listen to that speech, the way he ended that speech will now let you know that Nigeria is gone and gone for good. The only people today that are very sincere to themselves, that are genuine, are the Biafran people who are processing their movement out of Nigeria. The only people today that has the truth before them, that are sincere to themselves and to every other person, is the Biafran people who are pursuing their freedom diligently. That is why sometimes when I look at all these ones that call themselves freedom fighters or human rights activists, when I look at all these ones that call themselves human rights, they are a bunch of deceivers. That is the difference between us, the freedom fighters, and these human rights activists. Because these human rights activists are like every other English language. They just use it. They speak that word, that grammar. It will sound nice in your ear. But in the actual sense of it, they are doing nothing. It is empty. When you hear human rights, it sounds very, very nice in the ear. But in the actual sense, it is nonsense. There is nothing like human rights on the planet Earth. It doesn't exist anywhere. Not in the US, not in the UK, not in the United Nations. There is nothing called human rights anywhere. They only invent all those grammar to deceive you and confuse you. Look at the ones who call themselves human rights activists in Nigeria. None of them have the balls to speak the truth or to pursue a true freedom for their people. None of them. They will continue to deceive themselves. That is why sometimes when I see Showore wasting his time, I'll be wondering. Sometimes he addresses himself as an activist. You want everywhere to be good. You want a Nigeria that you don't want a small nation. You want a Nigeria where you don't want to limit yourself to a certain place. Lying to yourself. Why are you lying to yourself? Talking about something that is impossible. You know that this thing you are talking about is impossible. There's no way to happen. There's no way to happen. We do not have anything in common with the people, the Fulani, northern Fulanis. There's no way we can have anything, any resemblance anywhere. It can never ever happen. You know that, and I know that. Why are we deceiving ourselves? Why is it that these people that call themselves the representative of the Biafran people who found themselves in that criminal environment, why is it that they cannot stand up and defend their people? Why? Why can't you stand up for once and speak on behalf of your own people? Make a case for them, at least for once. Why? Why won't you do so? Why can't you wake up, make a case for your people, at least for once? They call themselves representatives. That is why I say almost every English word. It is even better that Africans stop using English word. Use their own word. Use our traditional language. Maybe they will begin to understand things when they begin to use their own language. Because every English word is a lie. Every word, every administrative language of English is lies. They are all covered with lies. Maybe when we begin to use our own language to represent ourselves, it will be better. The ones that call themselves representative of the people. What does it mean to be a representative? A representative is to go there and speak the mind of the people. Whatever you and your people have dialogued and say, whatever you know that your people is voice on what they need, you go there and represent them and present their matter. That is the duty of a representative. Present the matter of your people, to the government. In the House of Rep, what problem do they present? The Biafran people are demanding for the release of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. They can't even have the liver to present the matter. The Biafran people are demanding for referendum. They can't even have the liver to talk about it. The Biafran people chose to sit at home every Monday until Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is released to force the government to obey their own law. The representatives are the ones fighting against that desire of the people. You come the other way around. The other one, they call themselves lawmakers in the Senate. The lawmakers in the Senate, they make the laws for people to obey. Is that not true? They call them lawmakers. But can you see that these people who call themselves lawmakers are fighting against the law? People who claim to be lawmakers, they are the one today standing against the law. Even when the court have passed a law, this law, the law that they make, the court uphold the law. For them now to support that law, they now turn against the law that themselves make. Only in Africa. People that call themselves lawmakers, standing against their own law. When the court, through the law that they have made, have freed a man and say, let this man go, he is innocent. The case of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu today is supposed to be on the top gate. If the lawmakers are supposed to be the ones carrying the case of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu with placard, they are the ones that are supposed to be championing the case of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu today. But what do? They make the law. The executive violate the law. Instead of them to confront the executive, they will now support the executive to violate the law. They support him. They support the executive to violate the law and throw the law away. And they turn back the other way and call themselves lawmakers. The judiciary will pronounce a law. The judiciary will uphold the law that they have made. Then for the executive to now execute that law, they will never do that. And the lawmakers who made the law will now support the executive that have refused to execute that law. This is what is happening in Africa, more especially in the Zoological Republic of Nigeria. That is why today, our Supreme Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, after the court have been freed him, the court freed him of all charges. You know humongous charges they brought. You know that by the time they brought up to 16 charges, you brought 16 charges against somebody, and every one of those charges was thrown to the dustbin. And still yet, you refuse to leave him. The court said that none of you have the jurisdiction to try this man because the situation surrounding the circumstances that brought him into Nigeria is not clear. You must have to deal with that first before you talk about bringing him to court, because you cannot be in illegality and be talking about legality. Their court interpreted a clear statement that was very clear, even to the deaf and dumb. What did the executive do? The executive stood on that very judgment and used their own grammar. They call it a state of execution. They introduced another grammar, state of execution. And today, they have refused to release Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. Even when the court went ahead to say, pay him compensation for the abuse of his rights, the criminal United Nations added their voice and said, let him go. It was only a verbal word. Let him go. And they gave an ultimatum. Nigeria violated the ultimatum of United Nations. They didn't do anything. Not even a sanction. Not even a sanction was given to Nigeria for violating the right of a citizen, an innocent man. Not even a sanction. For disobeying the United Nations. For going against international law. Not even a sanction. Instead, the US and the UK are still busy building their bilateral relationship with Nigeria. And there you are.
You tell me that it's going to be well. It is not going to be well anyway. You must have to take your destiny into your own hand. The more you continue to wait for the West, you are doomed for destruction. The more you continue to wait for the West, you are preparing yourself for slaughter. That is why today, the Biafran people, we are taking charge of our destiny. And I thank Chukwu Okike who gave us a formidable force. Somebody like Mazi Simon Ekpa, the Prime Minister of Biafra, he is not looking back, undeterred. His mental toughness is top-notch. Well connected, well grounded, educated. He doesn't just make noise. He read international law, so he can't just mess up. Every single procedure he's following today is legal, very, very legal. And I tell you, if you are a Biafran, you should be proud of yourself that Chukwu Okike loves you for giving you somebody like Mazi Simon Ekpa. If you're a Biafran, you should be proud of yourself. And I bet you, before the end of 2023, something is going to happen. Before the end of 2023, it doesn't matter what they are saying. It doesn't matter. This wave that you're blowing, we are going to lead the move. Wherever you are in Biafra land, always remain security conscious at all times. Pay attention to your environment. Listen to instruction. Today, our Prime Minister is going to have a press statement. Pay attention to that press statement and follow every instruction that he will give. The time that was given to the commissioners to resign have expired today. The time that was given to the Zoological Republic to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have expired today. And today, our Prime Minister is going to unveil the new measure that we're going to take. The new measure of civil disobedience will be unveiled today. Stay tuned until Mazi Simon Ekpa, the Prime Minister, reveals the next step to follow. We are going to strangle the Zoological Republic. They will be strangled, completely strangled. There is no, they don't have a choice. It's either you let Biafra go or you are doomed forever. I appreciate every one of you that have joined me on this very broadcast. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for your patience. Please join me in the evening on Chooks for Survival. I'm going to broadcast there in the evening for more information. Join me in there. Or if you cannot join in the evening, we'll see you again tomorrow, same time. I appreciate you, and I say, may Chukwu Okike guide and protect every Biafran across the world. Every force that is fighting for us, may Chukwu Okike guide and protect them. May Chukwu Okike guide and protect our Prime Minister, Mazi Simon Ekpa, wherever he is. We pray that Chukwu Okike continue to give him mental toughness, strengthen him, give him more wisdom, knowledge, understanding to lead us until we get into our freedom. May Chukwu Okike guide and protect our Supreme Leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Wherever Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is, we commit Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in the hand of Chukwu Okike for divine protection, for divine healing, for divine revelations. May Chukwu Okike be with him. No weapon formed or fashioned against the Biafran people shall prosper. No weapon formed or fashioned against our Prime Minister shall prosper. No weapon formed or fashioned against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu shall prosper. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being with me. I appreciate you, and I'll see you again later. Thank you, and stay safe. Bye-bye.